Hello and welcome. This is PappaZappa. I'm here with part 2 of my multi-comm Hoi 4 playthrough on the Graveyard of Empires expansion. Here again with my friend Tankman
Hello, I'm Tankman and I'm a Japanese anime enthusiast.
and my friend Geo.
Hello, I'm Geo. I want to kill some Spanish nationalists.
Awesome. Alright, now let's go ahead and move our tanks and get this show on the road. This episode's going to be all about the Spanish Civil War and the Great Purges and some minor industrialization. Let's go ahead and unpause. So the game has 5 speeds, with 5 being pretty fast. And so we can better pay attention, we've reduced the game speed to 3, so we can actually try and get in combat a little more effectively. Now, this red exclamation point means that they don't have a battle plan. So normally you would assign a front line and have a tank go into battle plan that way. However, for the purposes of what we're doing, and in most tank engagements, I find it better to not use a battle plan and just have them unassigned, mostly for the purposes so they don't try and redeploy themselves elsewhere. It's really annoying when you're trying to create a breakthrough by breaking through one particular point in the line, and then your tanks decide, well, we moved that one province, we got to move to 5 other provinces to make sure it's okay and protected. Tankman Geo, do you have how do you feel about avoiding using battle plans for your elite infantry or your breakthrough stuff?
I have to control the wind, so there's no need to have a battle plan.
Yeah, I prefer to have my most precious units under my hand.
So yeah, basically if you want to avoid having any problems, just don't use battle plans.
Oh, I think I've got a gap in the line in Cordoba over here. I think I want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, by all means, just make sure you don't get counter encircled.
Oh, no. I mean, I've got all the tanks here, so one is gonna cover the other.
So speaking of encirclements, now that we've mentioned that, it's essentially the most important / easy way of dealing with enemy formations is to encircle them. Because, well, what that means is so like this yellow is Spanish territory, well, Republican Spanish territory, and this orange is nationalist. If we get these 4 provinces, then that means these troops over here on the right are cut off from supply, and they can no longer resupply unless there's like a transport plane that gives them aerial resupply, which there won't be in this conflict. And that'll basically free the way for the troops guarding the pocket to slowly crush and liquidate any soldiers inside the pocket.
They will all die.
Yes. Now there's a couple different ways to go about encirclements. What we are doing is the most popular, the double envelopment. So we have 2 prongs of a pincer going from left and right. Well, up and down in this case. But you could also just have 1 prong from the pincer go all the way around. Either way, if you can get it to work, then it's fine.
Yeah, destroying them here. I already have everything. Okay,
Yeah, Geo's doing really well right now. Currently I can't move my tanks because they're being attacked from 2 different directions.
I'm just gonna hold here. I don't.
No, go ahead and attack this. Stop him. And then stop this guy from moving.
I don't have a lot of tanks here, so I can't. But no, just guns, don't worry about it.
And if you can, move to Cadiz. Looks like you have the road open. I'm going to move my tanks up north in preparation for phase 2.
Gonna close off the other gap. I'm just gonna put that.
Now, this button here, strategic redeployment, is critical for success in the Spanish Civil War, because otherwise your movement is reduced to minus 90%, and that takes away the strategic mobility of tanks by quite a lot, and that has to do with this unplanned defensive factor here. Oh, my bad, minus 75%. It's still colossal, but it's not quite world-shattering.
I'm on the way to get this. I think I'm almost there.
Now that we're in combat, you can see that we have tactics. Our tactic was countered because every time, like every couple days, there's going to be a tactic that these generals pull from their tactic list that decide what they do, and certain tactics counter others. Our tanks have armor, so that means they're going to take a lot less damage than normal.
At the port is ours.
Nice.
Just gonna mop it up now. Just work on that after the rest.
Tankman, do you have any advice for the Spanish Civil War?
It will be to hold Madrid as best as possible, considering it's an important supply node. And it's also where most of the railways go.
It is the central point in the Spanish railway network, that is for sure. And then Geo, do you have any advice?
The civil war is gonna take. It's going to take some time, so make sure that you have enough of a patience to see it through. That's all I can say.
As for my particular point of advice, this eastern section of Spain, Catalonia and Valencia, are going to flip over in about February of 37 to the anarchists. So, in my opinion, it's best not to try and take territory in this direction unless you want your troops stranded in the middle of enemy territory waiting to be annihilated, which is not particularly the best time. Now, Geo, I'm going to request that you close the southern pocket with your tanks. I
Yeah,
have
I'm
the
working
north
on it best.
covered here.
Yeah, I just don't have enough of the combat with to destroy them. Take a minute.
Now you can check how much damage you're doing with your planes by going to the air map and then clicking on the region, and you can see that we're doing over 10 damage a day. Now what that means is, it doesn't necessarily mean organization damage, but it includes it. So there's two types of damage you can do to a division. So organization damage is going to reduce this organization number. When that hits 0, the unit automatically has to retreat. And then this is damage to strength. If that hits 0, the division is deleted because it has been destroyed. And both are acceptable. Ideally, if you can just destroy divisions with how much strength you have, you really don't have to worry about making them retreat so much. Now, Geo, we didn't get a chance to ask you last episode, but I'm curious what your advice for playing as Greece is.
I guess Greece, it's complicated, depends on luck a bit sometimes. But you have to get an air force as soon as possible, and you are going to have to sacrifice some infantry equipment to build the planes, because they will actually do a lot more than just having divisions. And because, well, Turkey doesn't have an actual air force to fight you, so you have air superiority, closer support, and you can beat them pretty easily with those. So, for example, I had a total of 10 or 11 divisions, and Turkey had like 40, and I beat them, all because I had close air support. So it's very important to have that.
It looks like our tank army didn't have a field marshal, so I went ahead and assigned one. Now, Tankman, how's it going over in the Netherlands?
Oh, nothing much is happening. I'm just doing the focus to allow me to invest in the colonies. And the submarine fleet is slowly growing. I already have 3 submarines.
So your plan with the submarine fleet is to hamper the Japanese transport operations, I take it?
Exactly.
Now, where do you plan on deploying them?
Preferably in the South China Sea, which is where usually the Japanese divisions will be flocking to once they get Indochina from Vichy France. And preferably also around the Philippines and Indonesia to hinder any attempt of a Japanese naval invasion.
Is that also because they are deep oceans? Well, just oceans, not necessarily deep ocean.
Well, yes, of course. In deep oceans, submarines gain lower visibility among other bonuses, such as a lower chance to hit naval mines.
So, now, deep oceans are beneficial. Does that mean that fjords and archipelagos aren't?
They are beneficial in their own ways to different kind of ships.
I mean, you're
An
not going to get...
archipelago,
Oh, go for it, yep.
an archipelago gives big values to almost everything, but also lower visibility for everyone.
So definitely beneficial for those trying to do surface raiding. Now, shallow seas, though, appear to be the enemy of a submarine, considering you get plus 100% visibility.
Yes, preferably do not at all costs put submarines in shallow seas.
At your
I
own
think-
risk, really.
Certainly.
Now, Geo, how's it going down here? Looks like you've got about 4 or 5 divisions encircled.
Yeah, I'm just about done here finally.
Excellent. And the sooner we get done here, the faster we can move on to phase 3 of our Spanish Civil War plan. Now, for those historically inclined viewers, you're probably aware that the Soviet Union and the Spanish Republicans did not, in fact, win the Spanish Civil War. So this is not going to be an entirely historical playthrough, but it would be pretty difficult to make it one. So we're just going to do a couple things here and there just for the purposes of fun more so than anything. So, for example, us winning the Spanish Civil War here is purely done because it's fun.
By the way, if you want, you can use the tank over here to attack here. The guys spread low orb.
Oh no, I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
The tank is there solely to defend against a break or a counter breakout. Well, no, it's not quite the word I'm looking for. But to prevent them from reopening our closed encirclement.
Okay, done with my pocket. Now I'm just gonna move over from the south.
Are you gonna clear up this, or are you moving out?
I'm gonna first go like this.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna move up.
Good to hear. Now, I'm curious, for today's episode, I'm going to ask you guys, and then also the viewers, what your top 3 planes are from World War II.
I am not a really big aficionado of planes, but if I were to choose one, it will be the P-8, the Russian bomber capable of deploying a 5,000 kilograms bomb.
Now, that decision wouldn't be influenced by War Thunder, would it?
It's about to say that.
What? No.
Now, do you have 2 other planes that you're fond of?
The Yak-9, and the G2M2, a Japanese plane.
Gotcha, gotcha. Geo, how about yourself?
Well, my favorite, I would say it is the Narwhal. Now the Narwhal, it is a variant of the Messerschmitt 262. It is This is the U4 variant. It's got the 50mm autocannon in the front, which is good for ground targets. I will admit that my decision is influenced more Thunder. And it's pretty fun to use. It wasn't influenced in the war at all, to be honest, because it was too little, too late. Second plane, the PF-109K4. It's my favorite fighter in War Thunder. Well, because it's agile. It was also the last end of the message between the 109 was made. So yeah, it's got some significance in that also. Final one. It's a Stuka. And the only reason I like it is because the siren. Very nice.
Okay, interesting. I'd say for myself, my favorite plane of World War II, it's probably, it's a little hard to say for me. I think I'm going to go ahead and say the Lancaster is my favorite plane. And it is also influenced by War Thunder, my opinion here, because it carries a 12,000-pound bomb. And I am very fond of that 12,000-pound bomb. I could use that pretty much over and over again, and it wouldn't bother me none.
Except the enemy.
As far as second place goes, I'd say the B-29. Mostly because its capacity to end the war by dropping nukes, but also because it's got a fat bomb load. And it's a very pretty plane. And then for third place, I'll go with the F4U Corsair. Very fun fighter to use in War Thunder. If you can't tell, we're all pretty extensive veterans of War Thunder. In fact, it's possible that at some point, perhaps we'll upload some gameplay. I'm curious to see if those down in the comments want that sort of thing. If you do, please let me know, and we'll consider it.
We are gonna suffer the war.
Yeah.
Oh, and please let us know your top 3 planes down below in the comments as well, from the World War II period. Alright, Geo, it looks like we've just about taken care of the pocket down here.
I have to say that, well, the Republicans have been quite active.
They have been a little more helpful than normal, haven't they?
Yeah. Which is good.
Which is certainly surprising, because I don't know if you guys remember, but I recall saying that the Republican Spanish are the most worthless ally of all time.
It may be
yeah, Tankman, sorry.
it may be globally due to the recent update to the AIs to be able to use concentration of firepower.
It could be. It in some cases helps the AI quite a bit, in some cases hurts them a bit, when they concentrate all of their best units on one area to push. In the case that it hurts them, I recall Tankman playing as Belgium once, and the Germans throwing 1.8 million casualties worth of people on him, with to no avail. So they don't really know how to quit yet, but they certainly are better at attacking now than they were before.
Indeed. I was on my toes for the duration of the offensives.
Alright, now Geo, as soon as that encirclement clears up, let's go ahead and position our forces here and here. And the goal is going to be to take across the river in Valladolid. And then we also want to take this southern half of the river so we can cut off these troops down here. So ideally we attack into Salamanca up here and here, and then take these provinces. Something like that.
Yeah, and I see the supply hub as well, so we need that.
Supply hubs are marked by like the little house with like an oil rig next to them, for those curious, how we know where to go constantly. And if you can't see it physically, then you can always check the supply map and it'll be marked by crates.
Oh, and another thing to note, I see a lot of volunteers on the northeast, the Italians and the Germans.
Oh yeah, so there's definitely going to be a lot of enemy countries volunteering to help the nationalist Spanish. And by a lot, I mean 3. The Italians, the Germans, and the Portuguese. Those troops are going to be a lot harder to push through than your average nationalist Spain units.
I don't see the Portuguese anywhere though, but are they gonna come like...
They come in later, I believe.
So I guess it's like a focus they have to do to join.
Probably. So I mentioned previously that we do have until February of 37 to before the anarchists spawn, but it's going to be pretty unlikely that we manage to kill the nationalists by then, unless we do some major kung fu treachery, which is possible. And just like that, we've made it to the second stage of the Great Purge, the anti-Soviet Trotskyist Center. We're going to be killing some more people.
Only the bad ones.
How would you know?
Well, Stalin, he knows everything, apparently. Alright, there we go, we finished that up.
Okay, we'll take my 3 tanks. Put them on
I've already moved mine, so you can tell which ones are yours. I'm going to go ahead and move to this left province. You go ahead and move to the right.
yeah, actually I was doing that exactly.
Well, there we go. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and regain organization before we attack again. And it would appear that we've earned the Panzer Leader trait, so I'm going to upgrade us to Panzer Expert. So we get more division defense and a better chance of executing blitz and encirclement.
A blitz on the Germans.
Alright, I think we have enough organization. I'm going to go ahead and pause. If you are ready, go ahead and micro where you want your troops to go.
It's gonna go all in.
Alright, and then let's use force attack as well. Alright, you ready? Oh, we do need to move the planes. Geo, you got that? Northwestern Iberia is where they need to be.
Okay, northwest. On the way.
Alright, now let's go. Now the reason that we're using the force attack function is because it gives you an automatic offensive bonus, a breakthrough bonus, and you take less organization damage at the cost of taking more strength damage. So if you're facing an enemy superior in number to you, you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to suffer massive casualties and probably lose a division or 2, especially if they're soft-shelled like Marines without tanks, or like infantry or mountaineers, stuff like that. Tankman, do you have any advice in regards to force attack?
Preferably a force attack while not suffering attrition, because the damage taken to strength will add up with attrition.
What about you, Geo?
Sorry, I was watching the combat and hear anything.
No, I'm thinking about force attack. Is there anything you want to say in regards to that?
Don't use it because I feel like it's not necessary. Well, I mean, I would only use it if I am desperate to push through to the province. Otherwise, I don't think I need it because I wanted to keep as many supplies as possible.
Looks like we're pushing through okay. We are suffering from the unplanned offensive, so it's going to be a little more difficult to push. Looks like there's a breakthrough imminent on your area, Geo.
Okay, there you go. No supplies though.
Can you help push for this? That'll help with the supply situation.
Let's just go around actually.
And definitely take this province as well.
Yeah. Go.
Thankfully, as the Soviet Union, we have enough spare tanks that it's not that big a deal. Are you sure you want to move down from where you're at?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm pushing up anyway, so yeah. See. Start watching out.
I did accidentally stop the movement on one of your tanks if you want to restart that.
I'm just gonna put it up anyway, dude, and down here.
And then definitely, let's see here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take the hub.
Well, we've got the supply hub. It's this road we need to take before it counts. So if you can prioritize that, that'd be the most important. I'm going to try and secure this road south of Valladolid. That way we can push up north into it. But it would appear that they've got some decent support there for them.
If you go to the division, you can't push them because of no supply.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
It's been such a long time.
Alright, the second Moscow trials happened. We killed a whole bunch more of our political workers. And we'll go ahead and take the workers' dictatorship. Now, this is going to be the first time where you're not going to have enough political paranoia debuff to prevent something bad from happening. So I definitely recommend doing one of these inspections, probably in the Navy. But also the Air Force is okay-ish. And then definitely take advantage of forged satisfactory production reports. Okay, Geo, what was it you wanted to say?
I don't want to lose my admirals. Come on, I have the navy.
Oh, the admirals don't matter. You can always get more.
It's fine, Joe. It might just be the malus to Navy.
Oh, I will have to do the training again and all that. Pain in the ass.
Okay, so one of my tanks got lost in translation. I think... Oh, it's the 7th. Let's see, where's the 7th thing? Yeah. Oh, no, it's the second one here, the DVVO. That's the guy above Valladolid. I'll take control of him back when the time comes.
Yeah, maybe because I've got all the technicians are scattered.
We almost have control of Valladolid. They're getting actually pummeled, these divisions.
I'm just gonna disappear, so it should be one division left. Don't try to pull any more out of nowhere.
Alright, looks like the anarchists are going to spawn pretty soon here. Now, Tankman, I don't believe they're guaranteed to spawn in February. Can't they spawn as late as May, or am I incorrect there?
I'm not sure if I would say it's guaranteed. It's more of a timer, and depending on whether the Republicans have done a certain focus that increase the timer or not, well, it will spawn later or sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's around 1937, yes.
Okay.
I have spotted the Portuguese volunteer.
Ah, I see.
Finally here.
Ah, okay. Near Cuenca. Okay.
Yeah, he's not gonna do anything over there. He's losing.
Alright, we're about to take this city, so get ready to... I'm gonna... Okay, as soon as we take... Oh, wow. Nice timing for refreshing and reinforcements.
Yeah, they're gonna do that a lot of times. Oh,
hey, can you just attack this guy so we can't do it? With the... Or I'll do it, It's my tank.
It's still gonna appear, but maybe it's gonna take a while. Just have to take the province before he...
And if they try and reinforce from the south, I can redirect one of the tanks to hit them as well. So we've effectively made it to where they can't reinforce. Oh, speaking of, I highly recommend using this strategy. If you find a province you absolutely want to take, but they keep reinforcing it, is to just attack people on their way to it, because it is impossible to get out of that unless they retreat. Now, Tankman, are they allowed to retreat into the province that I'm attacking?
In some cases, yes.
So that is an option. However, it does run the risk that if they lose the province, that division that retreats there is instantly going to get destroyed if they lose that battle.
Come on. Someone's there.
I'm just going to make sure that nothing happens. Alright, we got it.
And nothing ever happens.
Alright, so the next stage of the plan, stage 4, where I'm going to start right away. Geo, keep going on that liquidation path, but as soon as you're done, we're going to move up the road here and west here and cut off the west from the east for nationalist Spain.
So I'm going to take one of the tank divisions I have back because it was kind of with yours.
Yeah, the bottom one here.
Yeah, it's moving out of the stack. Although as we've seen that our fuel is not double in parallel, but maybe that's because the railway is not connected yet.
Yeah, it's gonna take, anytime you take a railway hub, unless it's connected by a waterway, it's gonna take a couple days before it's actually up and running.
Okay, yeah, we're getting fuel now.
Alright, let's go ahead and I'll go up the north track, so this way, and you go west, alright?
Okay, this way. Good. Let's just start now and you do it whenever.
Yeah, by all means.
I see that we do not have the debuff anymore.
For unplanned offensive?
Yeah, like they're just
Oh yeah, we're gonna rocket through them then, because we can use our full stats.
they are melting. Okay. You can go to Leon and close in
I'm gonna make it all the way to Oviedo, and then once we make it there, I'm gonna start traveling east. Oh man, we went so fast. That symbol you just saw, the helmet popping up, means that we went so fast that we actually destroyed an enemy division. Now I'm gonna pause here to just start the movement east. Make sure that that's going as fast as possible. Alright, now we're good.
We should have to go check the capitulation progress for the nationalists.
If we take Burgos, Bilbao, and Zaragoza, I'm pretty sure they're done.
They are cooked.
Go for the other part on the west, I guess, so that that's gone. And they don't do anything.
Alright, looks to me like they're not going to be able to get to Bilbao in time.
Is it yours? Nice, okay.
Alright, and then I'm going to try and head south to Burgos from here.
Just gonna use the tank division to just move the way in. We can change our
And that looks like that was a success there. They didn't make it to the north in time. And we're going to make it into the capital.
and
now-
maybe we're going to be before the anarchists.
And make sure, yeah, Geo, you're almost at La Coruna.
And then I'll go to the port of Vigo. I mean, it's technically a port that is in that spot.
Alright, looks like the
yeah.
nationalists are redeploying a little bit, so definitely be careful.
I got a lot of divisions in La Corona over here.
Oh, nice. Okay. And then that looks like that encirclement's just about done over in the west.
Yeah, and took a lot longer than it should. Can move this tank out.
Alright, now that we're past 20% political paranoia, I'm going to press this Forge Satisfactory Reports button. It's going to reduce it back down by 20%. And for the low cost of 5% more consumer good factories, which it's going to slow down the pace at which we make civilian factories a bit, but not the biggest deal of all time. Because very soon, as long as we don't end the war too early, we're going to get an event where we get to steal the Spanish gold reserves.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot about that.
And that's
3
going to
gold.
give us, yeah, an extra consumer goods bonus.
And they will never have it back, ever.
All right, your tanks, you got one ready to go here, Geo, in
Yeah,
the
no,
west.
I just put it like... No, actually, yeah, I'll go from over here, actually. Like, go from here and then head north.
Now, you'll notice next to the divisions, there's going to be these different symbols. There's 5 different ranks that an experience can have, or levels, I guess would be a better way to put it. And levels 1 is going to be green, so they get a malice in combat of 25%. Level 2 is going to be irregular. Well, no, not irregular, but trained. So they have no bonus either way. And then regulars at level 3 are going to get a 25% bonus. Seasoned at level 4 gets a 50%, and veterans at level 5 get 75%. This is the absolute strongest your troops can be as a veteran.
The
And
anarchists.
you're gonna gain veterancy by attacking in combat without losing troops. So tanks are really good at doing that. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and start phase 5 of the operation and just try and barrel down towards Zaragoza to finish them off, the
All of those
nationalists.
Spanish units over here in La Corona, the first 2 divisions.
9 units? Wow! Huh.
I should have taken the port, then they would have died. Because
That's alright. Honestly, it might be for the best that they have that many divisions doing nothing over there.
We take Pamplona. Okay, I've got the Vigo. Supply hub for us.
I'm maneuvering my tanks to go for the drive down south to Zaragoza.
Gonna give you some bombers over there.
Okay.
Give you one of the 2.
Now, do be a little careful. The enemy air force is going to be deployed over here. However, because we own all of the ports, Nationalist Spain doesn't really have a way to supply anyone on the inside over here because their capital is in La Coruna.
I mean, they seem to be doing quite fine supplies right now. Not gonna lie.
That's Spanish magic.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix has a song about it, Spanish Castle Magic.
They regain nutriments by sleeping.
Alright, begun my drive southeast. And don't worry about the anarchists. They fold like a napkin. They're really easy to destroy. There's a couple reasons for that. The biggest one is they, for whatever reason, seem to have no equipment whatsoever for their divisions. For the most part. Apparently that guy's equipped. And then another thing, because they're anarchists, they cannot receive Lend-Lease from anyone else. And they also can't get volunteers from anyone. So they're completely alone. Now, I have heard that the anarchist path is pretty fun for anyone trying it out for Spain. Tankman, have you tried the anarchists out?
Many times. And it is indeed quite fun. Even if it takes a bit of time to actually do something.
Good to know. What's the payoff for playing as the anarchists?
The big main payoff is the ability to core any state with high enough compliance.
So basically any state in the whole world you can eventually core.
That's right.
Now, why is core population important? That's something we haven't touched on yet.
It is important because the main difference between an occupied territory and a core territory is the amount of manpower and factories you gain from said territory.
As well as the resources.
So, as the Soviet Union, we actually have no non-core territories. The entirety of our country is a core. But for the Netherlands, this makes a lot more big a difference. Well, okay, not that big a difference, because I guess Curacao is one of the only places that isn't a non-core for you, right?
No, there is also Suriname, which
yeah.
gives me a lot of aluminum.
And aluminum, in my opinion, is basically the most important resource in the game because it's really hard to get a hold of for whatever reason. As the Soviet Union, we have a decent amount. We're going to be able to make like 50 factories worth of planes probably. But like most of the aluminum in the game is centered around this Asia, Central Asia, Balkans area. So like Greece has a bunch of it, Yugoslavia has a bunch of it, Germany has a bunch, France has a bunch, Italy has a decent amount, and Hungary has a bunch, which all of those countries are going to fall under Axis control. So while the Western powers have most of the world's oil, the Axis are going to have most of the world's aluminum. So it kind of makes it a little bit of an interesting situation where the Germans can make airplanes, they can't really fuel them, and you have plenty of fuel for the airplanes you can't build. That's the other side. Alright, Spain relocates gold reserves. That's exactly what we wanted to see.
Here comes the money.
Let's hope I can get this encirclement over here so that so I can kill all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have 10 divisions over there. That's quite a few.
Ah! And then we one in. Because the Republicans are doing their thing again. Where they're being the worst ally to have.
Now what I'm looking at here and under Army Command is the different spirits that will give you bonuses. You can spend Army experience gained to get these bonuses. Now as the Soviet Union, it isn't particularly necessary to get any of them right off the bat, but as I'm sure Tankman is ecstatic to tell you about, in democratic countries there is one that he highly recommends under Spirit of the Army.
It is called Relief of Command. It increases army experience gain by a whopping 25%. And also lowers army advisor cost by 50%.
Essentially, it pays itself off rather quickly. And it's going to make sure you have more army experience in the long run. And army experience, as we've said before, is critical for designing new vehicles. Actually, we didn't mention that. It's critical for designing new templates or updating your templates, as well as picking doctrine. Alright, looks like we got centralization and discipline. And we have 75 days to go before the military conspiracy. Okay, we got an event here. Chiang Kai-shek arrested in Yunnan. Don't kill Chiang Kai-shek. Otherwise, you're going to start a civil war between the Chinese factions, and that's no good for anybody.
But it is really funny.
Certainly. The Japanese are going to be a threat later on to the Soviet Union in your historical playthroughs. I'm pretty sure they're guaranteed nowadays to attack you. I haven't had a playthrough in a while where the Japanese hadn't. And if they're fighting China united, it's going to be a lot harder for them than if they're fighting a China attacking Communist China. Now, don't be afraid to save political power as the Soviet Union. You're going to need a bunch of it for various things throughout the game. We haven't quite gotten there, but there are propaganda posters we can get once we expand the agitprop, which will give us temporary bonuses for political power. And then later on, when we try and secure the Baltics through claims in the Baltics, that's going to cost us 240 political power. So at minimum, it's probably best to save like 300, a little more than that. Honestly, any amount you can save is fine. It's not like Italy where you eventually run out of things to purchase with political power rather early.
Why the finally got the final encirclement over here in the north.
Excellent. I haven't been able to make any progress on my attack, but they've been last standing, which we haven't brought up yet, is the exact opposite of force attack. So instead of using strength damage to prevent or to give yourself an attack bonus, you use strength damage to give yourself a defense bonus, and it also gives you extra entrenchment. But you are going to take war... Oh yeah, both sides are going to give you war support damage, or war support reduction on damage. And war support is entirely necessary for, well, a couple different things. For one, command power is a big deal. It affects your stability while you're at war is another big deal. And it also affects your ability to put in place certain economic laws. So if you don't have more than 50% war support, you're not getting war economy, for example. And then total mobilization is going to be locked off at 80%. So you want your country to support the war effort. And the same with the conscription laws, so you can get more manpower in your pool. Now, if you want to check on your losses that have been happening in a theater, you can press this button next to the theater of war that they're in, and it will show you all of the combats that have been happening, your win and loss ratio, how much you've lost, and you can also click the different tab for equipment and for the templates. So we've actually done a pretty decent job of... oh, jeez. Well, we've lost 431 light tanks, apparently. Geo, which is interesting.
That's no good.
Hey, but we're making good progress. So, as far as the Soviet Union player is concerned, losses for progress is a great thing. Don't worry so much about keeping your troops alive. They're there to be used. And it would appear that you've completed your encirclement, so now you're coming up from the north here, while everyone else is occupied.
If you can complete your encirclement and we can get these volunteers out of the game, that's gonna be huge.
Well, I think that they're just about done too, Geo. So like, if we can take a couple more places, they're at 24% of their victory points. They're going to capitulate at 15%. And really, all that's left is... Oh, they retook Burgos?
What?
Huh.
I see the Portuguese over there. I will blame them.
Oh, I guess that's possible how that happened. Keep in mind, we do have a pretty low opinion of the Spanish Republicans, and now that they are spread a bit more thin now because of the existence of the anarchists.
Just gonna wait for this division to move out so that they can move in.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead and unselect one of my tanks when, yeah, there we go. And then I'm gonna move it into Burgos to recapture that. Now you can hover over a division, enemy or friendly. If they're moving, it'll tell you how long it's gonna take them to move to the next province.
Back. Never mind. No more than a second.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and do an inspection in the Air Force because you mentioned you didn't want the Navy.
Yeah, well, the Navy is good. We have to keep it safe from other threats.
I will steal your Navy, Geo.
No!
Now, it's funny that Tankman mentions that because that is something you can do. If you win a war against someone, you can demand their navy as part of the peace treaty. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't appear that there's really an option to scuttle your own fleet. Like, the Vichy French uniquely can scuttle their fleet if Germany tries to attack them in, like, 1944 or whatever. I don't know, more like 42, 43. Probably is to prevent like a player from being butthurt and destroying their navy right before they lose.
Yeah, we're not getting any recommend, I'm sorry.
Alright, so this conspiracy in the academy is going to give us minus 20 political paranoia, but we're going to hold it as long as possible. It's up for 12 days, so the political paranoia is going to go up a little more before we worry about it. So I'm just going to put it in the corner over here.
Oh, Tankman, I have left a message for you in the chat.
I'm missing which is not for me. Hold on.
It's inside it's inside the game. So
Yeah, the game's
Oh, in the
in-game
game.
chat.
Okay.
You didn't whisper it. You
Uh-huh.
didn't whisper it to him. So unfortunately, everyone could do that.
it's more of a public threat, I should say.
The threat to all capitalist nations that communism brings.
Whoops! I accidentally sent 10,000 guns to the nationalist Spain.
Oh man. Tankman's
But
he's joking here because democratic countries have a really, really high limit to lend-lease, but I have I've been a bit devious in the past when we played, and I recall one playthrough where he was Portugal and I was, I think, the Soviet Union, and I gave 30,000 guns to Spain just for fun.
Oh, and did I laugh? Did I laugh?
he got his ass whooped.
That was a fun playthrough. Alright, looks like the conspiracy went through. Paranoia down to 0.
Now
Very slow progress here at the very end of the Civil War. Just because they're putting up a pretty good defense. But really, we can just grind them down. We have, I think, either 3 or 5 tanks on factories. Yeah, 3. So we're making enough to cover our losses. We still have 316 spare. All old tanks, mind you, but we make 1 a day pretty much for BT-7s, which, as far as light tanks are concerned, the BT-7 is one of the very best of the war. Especially the pre-war. Alright, we're seizing the Spanish gold. Let's go.
Money obtained.
It's all ours now. Now, something that's going to be really important later, but we can't quite do right now, are these prospect for resources decisions. We're going to need to get the excavation techs here on the right of the industry tab in order to unlock them. They are entirely necessary, because without this extra aluminum, we're at a fairly low amount. 70 seems like a decent number, but when you look at planes and you realize that for each 1 factory it costs at minimum for a fighter 3 aluminum for right now. Well, I guess 2 on this interwar bomber, but interwar planes are terrible. I do not recommend using them or building them. It goes away fast.
There we go. Through the Pamplona.
Now, if you can't afford an Air Force, you have a couple options, like building static AA, building towed anti-air that you attach to your troops, and what are some other options, Tankman? Hiding in good terrain, I suppose, counts technically.
Come on, close it.
There is lower effectiveness of the Air Force in forests.
Yeah, forests and cities are both a good place to hide if you're trying to get away from enemy air superiority. I do recommend taking advantage of that.
Close the line, come on.
It will appear Japan has commenced its invasion of Spain, China.
Spain?
Well, you guys keep talking about Spain, so of course I'm going to say Spain instead of China.
It is Spain, but without the S. Come on, close it. I don't want to suffer anymore.
The suffering will continue until morals improve.
The morale is improving already. The volunteers are recycled.
Alright, there we go. Yeah, that's much better. That should improve our progress by quite a lot once we liquidate that encirclement.
Go home for foreigners. This is Soviet land.
GI, go home. I'm just gonna temporarily commandeer one of your tanks to prevent them from reinforcing Burgos.
It's going over the river, and that's how we will lose all those tanks, you know.
That's not that big a deal. They have like no damage.
Will survive for anymore.
And besides, the tanks in this division are what? Yeah, T-26s for the most part. They were meant to be destroyed.
Come on.
Expandable.
It's a piece of art. It's not expendable.
Now, I would really appreciate if this German division attacking us would... Yeah, there we go. Finally ran out of organization. Took him long enough.
Morse attacking him, so he's gonna...
Let's go ahead and move the Air Force entirely over to the east here, I think.
Oh yeah. Staying of that battlefield was fighting over there to close the gaps, and we got it. The skies are red now, though they've got a lot more fighters,
Mm-hmm.
and they only have one air base over here that appears to be unguarded. So let me just move a tank over.
Which tank? Oh yeah, I suppose that one's free. Hey, and
I mean,
if you can capture that, capture Zaragoza.
yeah, they've got a lot of their planes over here. So as soon as I got that, then it's clear skies.
It looks like we managed to get Rokovoski to level 5. He's a 5535 now, that's pretty good. As far as tank commanders are concerned, I highly recommend focusing on the attack stat and the logistics stat. That's really all that matter for them. Like, defense matters a little bit because you're going to have to defend your encirclement while you wait for your infantry to move up, which is the tactic I recommend for the most part. We're not doing that so much right here because we can only bring in these 6 tank divisions. But for when we're attacking the Germans and we're doing our grand encirclements, you can pretty much guarantee that we're going to take full advantage of our infantry divisions and have them move up slowly behind the tanks.
I guess I didn't have to take the airfield. They're gone.
Alright, looks like the nationalists are taken care of, and then let's finish the job. Let's finish this fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go straight to Barcelona.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Madrid, and then
Yeah, you could.
take over Cuenca in that that west pocket rather.
Or maybe you could close the pocket over here. I see. Oh, they're expanding it actually.
It's fine. The Spanish are gonna take a minute to get to their new positions. Wait for organization to regain. Now Timoshenko hasn't quite upgraded yet, but he has gotten a bunch of good experience towards upgrading, so that's nice.
You could send him to China.
I could, but then we'd have to do a bunch of focuses because the Soviet Union isn't technically allowed to send volunteers, or I'm pretty sure Lend-Lease as well, until either world tension is higher for the Lend-Lease or we do the focus called so we need to do the threat of the land of the rising sun, then we also need to do support the Kuomintang.
I didn't mean to send it to China, Zappa.
Oh? To Japan?
Good.
Yes,
This is your
to
tank,
gain
my
more
bad.
experience.
Where is my third tank? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's over there.
Alright,
kind of,
let's start going for Cuenca.
Going straight to Barcelona.
Yeah, if you take Barcelona, Girona, and Tortosa, and Casp, that's pretty much the end of them.
And then we will have to tell also, so we just have to close one of the gaps here and it should be game over.
Now, for these upgrades have come up at various points throughout the playthrough. Oh, looks like a bunch of our generals just died. Excellent. That's going to be in here, in the different military-industrial organizations. Those have a bunch of upgrades. I'm prioritizing for my upgrades the ones that improve production first, before I prioritize ones that change how they operate and sometimes increase production costs. Alright, looks like we've got Cuenca.
And Spain is asking for military access.
I get no. We're not giving that to them
What? Why not?
because they got their own problems. We don't want to let them in our country. Now we're very close to ending this war. It looks to me like we only need to take Tortosa and it's over. Either that or Girona. Maybe both.
Yeah, but also, if you encircle a lot of divisions, you can get a lot more infantry equipment for the warrants. Army XP. Yeah, that's worth.
Yeah, they're a shell of what they started the war with. That one full division was an outlier because now they've been ground down to like 5% equipment. Oh, 17%, my bad.
And they're on last stand, so
Looks like they're still holding despite losing Tyrol. Yeah, they need to lose one more victory point, which is all they have, lol.
in Tortosa maybe?
Yeah, that's the only one I can see.
Oh. I just saw that maybe if they lost enough men they would capitulate.
Perhaps.
Maybe or and it's the same for it seems like if you use use like a nuke against Japan, they get the war support and you win the war easy. As an American.
Or whoever. Is the Soviets it can be useful to nuke Japan. Same with Germany.
Yeah, they would. If you want, you can do a pincer on the in Tortosa. See your tank here.
Yeah, I was regaining a little bit of organization before I went in.
No worries.
Alright,
Yeah,
excellent. And with
A
that,
great victory.
we're going to call our second episode here. Thank you so much for joining us. This was PappaZappa, joined by my friend Tankman and Geo. For part 3, we're going to be focusing pretty much all in on finishing the Great Purge and getting our industry in place for when World War II kicks off, and we're going to be seeing the Germans sweep through Europe. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, Auf Wiedersehen!